What's up, my peoples? I appreciate y'all coming back through, and if this is your first time, please consider following or subscribing to either my Instagram or YouTube channel. I am looking to do a lot more of this stuff, so it would help for you guys to, keep coming back on by, you know what I mean, and check it out. If you're really into the AI stuff or into Blender or Unreal Engine, I'm going to be making videos on all of that. So just come on through, kick off your shoes, relax, and watch some videos here. Alright, so for those of you guys who know me, know that I like to create this character named Yumi. I always have her with purple and blue hair. She tends to wear, more young style gear. She's supposed to be an anime character. This one doesn't look as anime, but, I wanted it to have that Sony animation or Pixar-ish look. More closer to Sony animation though, because I wanted some of the realism, and you get the subsurface scattering inside of her skin. For those of you guys who don't know what that means, if you take a flashlight, stick it on underneath your hand, you'll see that glow that comes through. That's subsurface scattering. Your hand is slightly transparent, and so the light enters your hand, and it comes back out the other side, giving you that reddish, looking light. Because obviously the light is trying to pass through, and that's what you get. Anyways, this isn't a science channel. This is me showing you guys what I've been able to come up with using Gen 2. Alright, so anyways, let's get back to it. So this was a very basic prompt that I put in, and yeah, here's the results. Alright, so not perfect. Does have the color hair that I was going for. She does look like an anime character, which is oddly enough, because I think in this generation she didn't really come out looking as anime as I wanted her to. But I guess you can kind of see it. It just looks more like Sony animation than anything. So let's go back over to the boop. So here we are. Again, the eyes, not the best. The skin looks plasticky. The t-shirt's not the color I asked for, but it does look kind of realistic. I do like the way this hair looks, though. The hair looks pretty dope. Alright, so let's go ahead and see what happens when I change the prompt up a little bit and I start tweaking the settings. So in here, I kept the beginning prompt, the young female with purple and blue hair talking on her YouTube channel, but then I added cinematic. The reason why I add cinematic is for a few reasons, actually. Cinematic tends to get you a better camera angle and frame composition, so you want to get everything looking kind of cinematic, and the lighting as well. All of these things are all dialed into that cinematic prompt, so that way I don't have to add all these separate prompts. I just put cinematic and I get most of that all in one. It's the more you play with this stuff, the less that you use, the better it is. You don't want to spam the prompts. Doing all of that, yeah, you might get something that you like, but you're also playing the percentages. You can get really good stuff with simple, clear, and concise prompts. Think of it this way: if I was going to give you directions somewhere, it would be just easier for me to tell you the quick steps to get there, not to get into all this extra information. You're just going to confuse the person, you know what I mean? Rather than just keeping it simple, straight to the point. This is the same thing with the AI. You give it all this crazy stuff, a lot of it might even contradict itself, and so the AI will get confused, and you may not be happy with some of the results that you get. If you do get anything that you like, it's just out of pure luck. You know what I mean? It's just playing the percentages. The AI tries to pick the best out of all of that, and does its best to give you something that it thinks you want. So anyways, keep it simple. Use words that can describe a bunch of things at once, like cinematic. Alright, so that envelops a lot of different things, from lighting to camera angles to the composition. All of that is packed into this one word. Hyperreal and photorealism. I piggyback these two to try to get as much realism out of it. As you've seen in the other video, the girl didn't really look too realistic, right? She kind of had this like weird plasticky look about her, painterly eyes, and stuff like that. Then I add award-winning digital film, which is supposed to piggyback off of the cinematic. I added, for the first time, a director. I normally don't do that, but for demonstration's sake and for me to try to dial in a specific style, I decided, let me try out some directors. And so I added Christopher Nolan. I do like some of the style that he uses. So one of the big key things that I get out of using a director is like their color palette and the kind of colors they like to use and the kind of lighting that they like to use, and how they have their scene set up. So this will piggyback off of the cinematic, and I should, in theory, get some really awesome stuff with, just these four things here together. The CFG scale, I went from 7.4 to 7.7 to see if I can get any change in the look. I'm giving the AI a little more creative freedom. The interpolation basically is keeping each frame from one to the next looking very similar or same so that they have a nice flow to them. If you've seen some of the stuff on TikTok and on Instagram with the stable diffusion, you'll notice there's a lot of either flickering, or you'll see that the image is constantly changing. That's because per frame is giving you another seed on top of that. In other words, it's creating a new version of the same prompt, but it doesn't look exactly like the frame before or the frame after it, because it's not using interpolation, or very little interpolation. So you want a smooth, consistent look. You want to turn on the interpolation, and you do that by adding, the hyphen, interpolate, and then you put true. You got to take out the semicolons that they have there, or if you type it out, just type it out yourself. I find I type it out all the time. And the same thing with upscale, hyphen, upscale. You want to put in true. This will give you a much higher resolution video. All right, so let's see what happens when I change some of the settings. And I'm pretty sure you guys could tell right off the bat, she's got more realistic eyes, a more realistic mouth. She's got teeth that you can actually see. Her hair still looks good. She has a little bit of blue, but it's starting to shift more to the purple. But look what you notice out in the back. You know what I mean? Look at this composition. It's got this, this softer blue lighting that's coming through behind her. It almost has a color graded look, which is part of that cinematic and that Christopher Nolan prompt mixed together. You're getting these really like cool cinematic looking imagery. You know what I mean? You got some chromatic aberration on the side here. Like this really, I like this generation. She's still not dressed like Yumi. Yumi's young and spunky, and she's just got like this conservative shirt on, and but already I'm amazed at how well this is doing. Very slight subsurface scattering, so that makes her skin looks a lot less plasticky. I'm pretty sure you guys can see that now. So let's keep going. Let's see what else I can get. You know what I mean? Yeah, the movement there was kind of weird. So that's the other thing, is that, even though when you have interpolation on, the more creative freedom you give the AI, the more, you might see some little glitchiness in there. And again, this just comes with trying to dial in the prompt. I think I'm going to start actually seeing if I can get anything by breaking this number even smaller, going into like the hundredths and the tenths. I mean the tenths, the hundredths, and the thousandths. Anyways, so again, I made another change. Female with young female with purple and blue hair, talking on her YouTube channel. Cinematic, hyper real, photorealist. It should be realistic, but whatever. It's still by Christopher Nolan. The only real change I did here is I upped it about 1 point up into the CFG scale, so it's 8.7 instead of 7.7. Now this is giving the AI a little more creative freedom, and let's see where it goes from there. Alright, so we're starting to lose some of the stuff I've noticed, and we're almost reverting back with the eyes, going back to almost that painterly look, which is odd because I was getting that at 7.4, but then I bring it up to 8.7 and I'm still kind of getting that there. This is almost like a mixture between the two different prompts. The hair again looks kind of realistic, and it is purple and blue. It's supposed to be a gradient fill as far as the color goes, and it kind of does get that. Again, the shirt's not what I wanted. The skin doesn't look as plasticky. You can notice a little bit of subsurface scattering right in there. But the eyes, she started losing that. I like how I got the little loose strands of hair here. You know what I mean? That kind of gives that realistic look. A little bit of blurred in the background. I'm not sure what's supposed to be back here. She's got some rim lighting over here, so that looks kind of cool. But again, not super happy with this one, so let's keep moving along and see what else I get. Alright, so let's stop here, because I added a lot more stuff to the prompt. Alright, so, young female with purple and blue hair, in a jean jacket with cut-off sleeves, white t-shirt, red suspenders, realistic subsurface scattering, talking on a YouTube channel, cinematic, hyperreal, and then I fixed the photorealistic, award-winning film, digital film by Christopher Nolan. I dropped the CFG scale back to 7.6, so I'm in between that 7.4 and 7.7 to see if I get any more fine-tuned results out of this, and obviously I kept these things the same. Sorry about that, I hit the phone. Alright, let's see what we get. Alright, she has a little bit of attitude. I like that. You're starting to see a little more of the Yumi in her. There are no suspenders, as you notice. She did get a tattoo instead, so I don't know if Yumi was old enough to get a tattoo or not. But, you know, maybe this is 18-year-old Yumi. In the States, you have to be, I think, 18 years old to get a tattoo. So if you're watching outside the country, that's what that's from. Anyhow, the cut-off sleeves aren't really cut off, but I kind of like this look. It's like a jean shirt, almost a jean jacket shirt, but then the sleeves are all rolled up. And then I guess the tattoo gives her some of that spunk. It's funny because I didn't tell the AI what kind of attitude she has, and it's almost like it's picking up on it on its own. And I didn't tell it anime, which is what I normally do put in the prompt. And it's, you know, giving me this Japanese or Asian looking female, and Yumi's supposed to be Japanese, and so I do like that the hair is gradient. This is what it's supposed to be. It's purple and blue gradient hair, and I didn't tell it the gradient hair either. It's almost like it's reading my mind. It's a bit scary. I think so. Anyways, let's get back to this. So, we're getting a lot closer. So I noticed when I started getting this generation that I'm getting there. The skin's starting to look a little more plasticky though. We're starting to revert back there and away from the subsurface scattering that I was looking for. So let's go ahead and see what else happens here. Alright, so we got a young female with purple and blue hair, jean jacket, cut off sleeves, white t-shirt, red suspenders, realistic subsurface scattering, talking on our YouTube channel, cinematic, hyperreal, photorealistic, award-winning digital film by Ridley Scott. So I changed the director here because, again, I wanted to see if I get a different look, a different feel of the composition. So I kept all of this the same. Let's see what happens when we just change out the director. Alright, again, pretty spunky. In motion, it doesn't look as great. I mean, this actually doesn't look too bad. This really looks realistic. You know, the angle's obviously different. It's very similar as far, because these are all close-ups. The lighting style, I mean, I would have to, I guess, watch both of their, you know, watch some examples side by side of Christopher Nolan versus Ridley Scott to see if I can pick up on, you know, the differences as far as the kind of lighting and the angle that they're using, and the way that they have their composition. But at any rate, we are getting back a little bit of the subsurface scattering. You can see some of that light entering in there. I'm getting a nice soft diffused light. Her hair's shorter than the other generations. It's still purple and blue, which is what I'm looking for. The jean jacket is pretty cool. No red suspenders. And I don't know why it looks like she's got a kimono. Maybe she's supposed to go to like a dance recital or some kind of thing, and so she's hiding this under there so that her parents won't see it, or maybe her friends. Maybe she doesn't want her friends to know that she's has to go to dance school or something, or I don't know, whatever. But that does look like a kimono underneath, and then there's some kind of weird shirt here, and then the jean jacket. All right, so and again, she does, she has that little bit of an attitude. I like that the teeth aren't perfectly white. She's a young teenager and probably eats a lot of like junk food, and I don't know if she brushes daily or whatnot, but I like that it's not like a super white, pristine white. You know, it kind of adds to the realism. You know, so let's go ahead and check out some of the next ones. All right, so you'll notice that I did another thing here. I did a couple things here. Um, I have everything else the same, but this time I added a semicolon, semicolon 1 to try to see if I can get it to look at this more. Um, I'm not sure if I did that right. I'd have to really look that back up because I haven't used this parameter in a minute, and I don't remember if I'm supposed to have a small number to make it pay more attention to that or a bigger number. And I didn't really get too far into it messing around with this because after a while I abandoned the suspenders. I was just like, whatever, it's just not going to give it to me. So anyways, I kept this the same, all of this the same. Ridley Scott. I did want to try to add professional soft blue color grading, mainly because I was trying to get back to, I wanted this look. You know what I mean? It almost looks like it's got like a, you know, blue color grading going on there. So anyways, I dropped the CFG scale. I went to 7.5. So, and then I added a new parameter, and that's the hyphen hyphen seed. And then this number basically is the same number for the one before it, the video you just saw. And let's see if we get anything different there. Alright, it looks very similar. You know, the lighting is a little bit different. But you're going to notice that she's got some kind of lazy eye situation going on here. Didn't give me the suspenders. Did give me a choker. I did like that she had that on there. That kind of added to her character. So I did appreciate that it did that. And then I kept playing with this seed because I kind of liked this style. And I wanted to see if I can, you know, expand on it. And I kept getting this, all of this. So I did it a few times and I kept getting the same thing, just slightly different versions. Then I got rid of the seed and I started getting closer to what I wanted. Alright, so she looks amazing in here. This looks so real. Very light hint of the subsurface scattering, but you got that soft diffused lighting. I don't see much of the color grade. I mean, maybe it dropped down in color very subtly, but you know, again, you got this backlighting that creates some of this rim lighting over her hair to highlight her. You know, the background's blurred out so that she stands out more. I mean, the AI really knows what it's doing when it comes to this kind of stuff and composition. So I kept this seed and I wanted to see what else I get from it. And again, another fantastic generation. She's very realistic. The hair might look a little wiggish, but I like the color of the hair, the jean jacket, wrong color shirt, but whatever. I'm not, who's to say that she doesn't have a bunch of different color t-shirts, right? The main thing was trying to get her to look realistic. All right, the background again, I love how it used this little extra blue light to help, you know, create this little silhouette and chromatic aberration around her, you know, around her edges there. The jean jacket, the texture looks real. You got some areas that almost look like they're like kind of worn in, you know. So again, this is a fantastic generation from Gen 2. And I am definitely getting a lot closer to what I was looking for as far as creating Yumi as a real person. Alright, the next one, this one is alright. It's not really Yumi. This could probably be one of Yumi's friends or something like that, but I don't know. I don't get as much Yumi from her. But does kind of look a little realistic. The hair does look wiggish. We did get the right color shirt. Still no suspenders. She does have this little necklace or charm or something underneath there, which kind of adds again to the personality of her. And other than that, I don't see as much as I like, but I'm not saying that this is bad. This is pretty good. It's just not what I really wanted to get out of Yumi. I think the last one kind of does look like her, so, and that's this one. This is a young version of Yumi. I could picture her arguing with her grandmother, or you know, telling stories with her friends and stuff like that. You're getting some of that reddish, you know, hue in here, so the subsurface scattering is in there. Um, the lighting and from her skin tone, maybe it is shifted a little to the blue, but she's got a nice big highlight up here that's peeking through here. Look at these little strands of hair. Like that's awesome. Okay, so right here it's not perfect. I don't know what it's doing there, but we've got like the necklace going on. The jean jacket looks right. The t-shirt's a little on the pinker side, but hey, again, who's to say that she doesn't have a bunch of t-shirts? You know, she's a young girl. Um, I do like the everything else does looks the same. I mean, the motion is gonna look a little glitchy and stuff like that, but you know, again, this is with finding the right, you know, balance between CFG scale and some of the prompt that you give it. Sometimes that helps, you know, try to ease things in there. Maybe if I put like a slow motion in there, I might get a much better or smoother motion. Who knows? I'm going to keep playing with it. I do have a ton of other generations that I made. But I really want to thank you guys for stopping by. If this is your first time, definitely drop a follow or subscribe. I'm always going to keep coming out with more stuff. I love trying different things, and I like getting my hands into everything. So every time they give me access to something, I try to play around with it as much as I can. So lately I've been on a Gen 2 kick because I want to see how much text to video I can make. I do want to make a short film, so I'm going to mess around with that a little bit more. But anyways, I want to say thank you guys for coming by. Again, drop a like if you can, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.